Guys, big breaking news coming out. World War III update. Ukraine strikes Russian energy site with US HIMARS. And there's a huge blackout going on right now. So we're going to see what's going on with this news here, guys. We have more information coming out. And that doesn't look good. 2,000 Russian military sites would fall within range of Ukraine's forces if Washington approves delivery of long-range Tomahawk missiles. Wow. All right, so this is going to be a very important news here, guys, especially this one here, the Tomahawk. This is a game changer, all right? And we did talk about that last night. Those Tomahawk are brutal, all right? Just imagine Times Square getting hit with hypersonic missiles. Picture that. Russia sending Cuba hypersonic. Cuba fires hypersonic towards Times Square. It's almost the same thing what's going on with the situation of Sleeping Giants sending Tomahawk to NATO and NATO giving it to Ukraine. Alright guys, before I start, for those of you that want to send us letters or prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife Jessica Santiago at 3432 US Highway 19 number 2, Holiday, Florida 34691. And for those of you that want to contribute to the channel, we do have the Cash App link and the PayPal link in the comments box and also description box. Thank you again for your support. Your support is what keeps us on air. Guys, I just posted a video over my third channel. The link will be in the comments box. Make sure you follow me over in that channel. I'm posting videos every morning. Alright, so before I start, let me just read this verse. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 8. Love never fails. So, if it fails, it wasn't love. It was a lesson. Once again, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 8. Love never fails, so if it fails, it wasn't love. It was a lesson. Alright. So let's see what's going on with this news here. Again, share, subscribe, hit that like button, guys. The more like, the better. Alright, so Ukraine reportedly launched Precision US HIMARS. This is a US equipment. HIMARS rocket strike overnight on power plants and energy facility in the Belgorod region. Now, the strike targeted key distribution sites, reportedly causing widespread blackouts across the area. The strike appeared to be retaliation for Russia's ongoing wave of missiles and drone strike on Ukrainian sites. Alright, so the firing HIMARS. That's a U.S. weapon right there. Very, very, very powerful weapon. Pretty soon, the next thing will be Tomahawk. And that's even worse. Alright, let's see what's going on here. So nearly 2,000 of the bare military sites would fall within range of Ukraine's forces if Washington approves delivery of long-range Tomahawk. Now it says here the think tank said the extended range Tomahawk variant could be employed to about 2,500 kilometers, that's 1,553 miles, which would put at least 1,945 Russian military targets in range. A shorter range variant that could fly about 1,600 kilometers, 994 miles, would reach roughly 1,655 targets. Now it says here sites listed by ISW include a large Shahed drone factory in the Alabuga industrial zone in Tatarstan and scores of military airfields. Now it says here the report said 76 air bases will be reachable by the extended range Tomahawks and 67 by the standard version. Engels 2 home to strategic bombers was among the bases named that would be added. Man. The analyst said that the missiles will let Ukraine strike deep into Russian rear areas and damage facilities that supply and support frontline operations. That capability, they say, could seriously disrupt Russia's war effort. The problem here is the consequences. What are the consequences? If the bear get hit, let's say they get hit really hard, like really hard, let's say Moscow, or let's say one of their facilities, if they get hit really hard, are they going to wave the white flag? Or are they going to drop the hammer? They have Orishnik locked and loaded in Belarus, and they could drop that thing any time. Donald knows it. That's the reason why Donald is really thinking about this very good. There's a reason why he didn't send it yet. This is not Iran. The bear is not Iran. So it says here, George, a Russia analyst with the ISW, told Kiev Post that Ukraine has an operational requirement of striking the bear intermediate and deep rear. Now, he said that while existing domestic long-range equipment are available, they frequently lack the payload capacity necessary for meaningful strikes. Now, I did mention this last night. Imagine if this was Joe sending Tomahawk. The reaction of MAGA and even Donald himself would say, Joe is taking us to WWE3. And Donald said it last year. He said it many times. Joe is dragging us to WWE3. But Joe didn't plan like sending Tomahawks and stuff like that. It says here the Tomahawk cruise missiles would directly address this gap by providing Kiev a critical counter to the Bear massive drone campaigns, which currently involve packages of over 500 Shahed drones every few days. Now, if Ukraine had Tomahawk missile, Ukraine could destroy the factory in Tatarstan that has the capacity to produce 2,700 of them monthly, noted on Monday. That's true. But like I mentioned, the consequences will be brutal. George added that the missiles would ultimately degrade the Bear logistic on the front lines and the near rear through loss of logistical support. Now, the U.S. officials are weighing the request carefully. The U.S. commander said Monday he had sort of made a decision, but wanted clearer answers about how the missiles would be used and which targets Ukraine will strike before giving final approval. The administration sources say any sale would come with strict conditions. So this is very important. This is something that we talked about last night. So the U.S. commander is really thinking about this, and you could tell that he's kind of a little concerned about making this decision. All right, he said that I want to know where they're gonna fire this stuff at. All right, I know it's gonna be towards Russia, but what part, the territory. So it just, it's not looking good. Analysts also point to practical limits. You have the Sidha of the Royal United Services Institute said the sleeping giant produces only about 50 to 70 Tomahawks a year and has already used hundreds in past operation, which could limit how quickly large numbers could be supplied. It goes to tell you that we get involved in a whole bunch of biblical wars. Man, we don't have that much Tomahawks. It's because they're being used left and right. Sleeping giants love to get involved in these biblical wars. Additionally, some targets require multiple weapons of any size payload, Any military airfield, for example, may have a couple of dozen desired mean point of impact spread around a 3-kilometer long, 1.9 kilometers long runway, many of which could be hardened or protected underground. Now, once again, Crane is also working on its own long-range cruise missile, the FP-5 Flamingo, which with a reported range of about 3,000 kilometers. That's 1,864 miles. The ISW said the weapon is still new and that boosting production will take time. I think it's time for the Sleeping Giant to stop getting involved in all these biblical wars. You know how much that biblical war in the Holy Land in Gaza cost us? $30 billion. By the way, today's the 2-year anniversary, October 7th. You guys already know that happened back in 2023. We just hit the 2-year anniversary. $30 billion. With all these money that's being fed to these biblical war stuff. You know how many around the world will be eating good for like a decade? It says here the bear leader Vladimir has warned that sending Tomahawk to Kiev would mean a whole new level of escalation between the US and Russia. All right. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Leave comments down below. Let me show you something else here. Let me show you something else. Here we go. RIT is putting this one out. The U.S. Commander-in-Chief Administration fears it won't be able to control Crane use of Tomahawk. Well, again, if you have that type of feeling, that's your gut telling you, you know, hey, it's not a good idea. You should not be sending those stuff then. You can't trust Zelensky. That's the man that begs for billions every year when Joe was commander. I would not give that man now one penny. I'm sorry, that's just me. That's just me. The Sleeping Giant should not be getting involved in all these biblical wars. The Sleeping Giant was not built to be doing this type of stuff. But we just these Warhawk machines that's going on and spreading all these equipments around the world and giving money to everyone. Once again, Kiev still doesn't know if the U.S. commander will allow the arms sale. Again, Donald is having, you know, he's taking his time thinking about this because he knows this is going to spark fire. The bear will respond. You guys heard it from me first. If Crane gets Tomahawk and they fire that towards Russia, I guarantee they're going to be dropping Orishnik. Remember, you guys heard it. Orishnik will be fired. And Donald is, I believe Donald is not going to do nothing. He's just going to back out and say, you know what, I should have never sent that. I made the things a lot worse. I made it a whole bunch worse now. So Donald, he needs to really think about making that decision. Again, HIMARS was already used, and the Bear's not pleased about that. Putin warned that if they send a Tomahawk, that would end relations between the Sleeping Giant and the bear, U.S. and Russia. So Donald knows, you know, this thing is going to, it's not good. It's absolutely not good. Anyway, guys, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. What are your thoughts? Leave comments down below. Check out the videos I posted today. The links will be in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time later. Peace.